Deep in the heart of the African savannah, in a small village called Lemmoenzichite, there stood an ancient baobab tree. The tree was unlike any other. Its massive trunk twisted and gnarled, its branches reaching out like skeletal fingers against the sky. The villagers of Mwenzi revered the tree, believing to be sacred. They called it Cleaner, Memzimo, Wapepo, Nadisapaziba, the spirit trees, and told stories of how it was home to a powerful and vengeful spirit. The legend of the Baobab tree had been passed down for generations. It was said that long ago, a great chief named Dabari Yombari had betrayed his people. He had made a pact with a wandering sorcerer, trading the lives of his own villagers for eternal power. The sorcerer performed a dark ritual beneath the baobab tree, and as the villagers screamed in agony, their souls were trapped within the tree, bound to the spirit of the sorcerer. From that day on, the baobab tree became a place of fear. The villagers avoided it, especially at night, when strange lights were said to flicker among its branches and eerie wails echoed through the savannah. Those who dared to approach the tree often disappeared, never to be seen again. The elders warned that the spirit of the tree was restless, always hungry for more souls to add to its collection. The curse of the traveler. One year, a terrible drought struck Mwenzi. The rivers dried up, the crops withered, and the villagers grew desperate. The elders gathered to discuss what could be done. And one of them, an old woman, Minarat Nyoke, spoke of a way to appease the spirit of the baobab tree. The spirit demands a sacrifice, Nyoka said, her voice trembling. If we do not offer it a life, the drought will continue, and we will all perish. The villagers were horrified, but they had no other choice. They decided to draw lots to determine who would be sacrificed. The lot fell to a young man named Sinara Kitoit, a traveler who had recently arrived in Mwenzi Kito, was kind and generous, helping the villagers with their chores and sharing stories of his journeys. But he was an outsider, and the villagers believed that the spirit would accept him as a worthy offering. That night, the villagers led Kito to the baobab tree. He pleaded for his life, but they were too afraid to listen. They tied him to the tree and left him there, praying that the spirit would be satisfied. As the moon rose high in the sky, Kito heard a voice, a deep, guttural whisper that seemed to come from the tree itself. "You are not the one I seek," the voice said, "but you will do." Kito screamed as the roots of the tree began to move, wrapping around his body and pulling him into the truck. The villagers watched in horror as the tree seemed to come alive, its branches thrashing and its bark glowing with an unnatural light. When the dawn came, Kito was gone, and the baobab tree stood silent once more. The spirit's wrath, the drought ended, and the villagers of Mwenzi rejoiced, but their relief was short-lived. Strange things began to happen in the village. Livestock disappeared in the night, their remains found scattered near the baobab tree. Children reported seeing a shadowy figure with glowing eyes lurking in the darkness, and every night the villagers heard Tito's voice, crying out from the tree, begging for release. The elders realized too late that they had made a grave mistake. The spirit of the baobab tree was not satisfied with Kito's sacrifice. It had grown stronger, and now it sought to claim the entire village. One by one, the villagers began to disappear. Some were found dead, their bodies twisted and broken. While others vanished without a trace, the survivors tried to flee, but the spirit would not let them go. It seemed to follow them, its whispers haunting their dreams, and its shadow always lurking at the edge of their vision. The wasp said Desperate, the remaining villagers turned to Yolka, the elder, who had suggested the sacrifice. She confessed that she had known the spirit's true nature all along. The sorcerer who had cursed the tree was her ancestor, and she had helped use the villagers' fear to gain power for herself. But the spirit had betrayed her, just as it had betrayed Jabari so many years ago. Nyoka agreed to perform a ritual to banish the spirit, but she warned that it would come at a great cost. She gathered the villagers at the Baobab Tree and began to chant, her voice rising and falling in an ancient language. The tree shuddered and groaned, its branches lashing out as the spirit fought to maintain its hold. As the ritual reached its climax, Nyuka cried out, "Take me instead! Let the others go!" The tree fell silent, and for a moment it seemed that the spirit had relented. But then with a deafening roar, the roots of the tree surged forward, wrapping around Nyoka and dragging her into the trunk. The villagers fled, their hearts pounding with terror. When they returned the next morning, the Baobab tree was gone. In its place was a deep, gaping hole, as though the tree had been ripped from the earth. The villagers never spoke of what had happened, but they knew that the spirit of the Baobab tree was still out there waiting for its next victim. To this day, travelers who pass through the savannah near Mawanzi are warned to stay away from the place where the Baobab tree once stood. They say that if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can hear the whispers of the spirit calling out for more souls to join its collection. And if you see a shadowy figure with glowing eyes, it's already too late. The spirit has found you. Beware the spirit of the Baobab tree, for it will never let you go.